Okay, let me check my audio here. I just want to let Alex know that he is working with a UAP artisan. And now he's like, oh, you're a fruitcake. Okay, I get it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just like to have fun while I'm doing design work, especially highly technical UAP related science. So anyway, this is for you, Alex, and if you allow me, eventually my YouTube audience, this video will be unlisted until you give me the okay. But so it's kind of a long story, but I had volunteered a while back to help the Galileo Project in any way I could. And the first thing I started out doing was identifying objects in photographs. They have a little server that they will show you a photograph and you will help identify it, and then weed out the bad photographs. And I believe that has to do with machine learning, helping algorithms spot aircraft, but I could be wrong. But then I thought, okay, I have to do my I have to be initiated, so I have to do the grunt work first. And so eventually I got contacted to do this work, and I'm working with Alex. And I can say Alex because my son's name is Alex. I'm not at liberty, I don't think, to give out much information on names yet until I get permission. But anyway, so he contacted me about an antenna tower that could be portable, and he sent me this. And now, for those who don't know, I'm a design build contractor, so I do a lot of fabrication work also for the projects that we do. And so this kind of thing would be probably great for a more permanent situation. What I think the idea is to have a portable setup. So I just wanted to go over my idea right quick and see if I'm going in the right direction. I think I lost my ground. Where did it go? I moved it out of the way to do the thumbnail. Let me put it back over here. I have to have ground. All right, that's good enough. So let's start with the base. I think, and again, let me start off with this concept of fabrication. This is not, for me, this is not a big deal as far as fabrication goes. To someone who hasn't done any kind of steel fabrication or any type of fabrication at all, it may seem elaborate, but to me, this is elaborate and this is not. So keep in mind, this is coming from a contractor who would find this easy to build. As a matter of fact, at the end of this, I'm going to recommend something or suggest something. But anyway, so this is a base plate. This is the foundation of it all. And the idea is that this would just be its own, this is a part, right? And it would be fabricated with these tubes that are welded to it. Okay, and I have the parts laying out over here so you can see them individually. See, that's a part. And those little square tubes are welded on there, so they're permanent. Okay, so you have that part, and then these are individual tubes. These are fiberglass. All of these other tubes are fiberglass. That one, they're 2.5 or 2-inch with a 1/4-inch wall. Okay, then you have these outer base plates, and this is where it gets interesting, I think, and bear with me just for a second. So this thing needs to be weighted down, so you can either put these sandbags or the weights. They have these weights. I'm thinking as a contractor, we think more along the lines of sandbags, or something that can be locally used, unless you want to haul these things around with you. In any event, there's a plate here turn those off. So there's a base plate for that. And in this base plate, again, this is a part that's made. In this base plate, you have a hole that could be used to stake it down if you wanted to. A hole and you could have a rebar stake that you could, if you didn't want to, if you got out somewhere and you forgot your weights or you didn't want to load the weights around, because I think all of this whole kit's probably going to weigh less than those weights. I guess that's the idea. But if you didn't want to haul those weights around with you, you could just stake it down with the holes there. So the concept that I'm headed towards here is, portability and easy fabrication. So the idea here is to have these other sleeves welded to this base plate and to have these hinges welded to this, okay? And so there's a hole in that strap hinge and a hole in our thing, and when you come up here, this is another part right here. That part is laying right here with the hinges. And again, a lot of this has to do with foldability, portability, okay? All these hinges can just be flapped, down. These are all welded to this sleeve, okay? Now, the hinges do several things for you. It allows you to change the angle of this brace, okay? So let's say you wanted a tower that was, a lot taller. Say you wanted to add a section and you felt like your braces were too short. Well, all you would need are the braces that you were going to substitute, and this thing, this part of it can be raised up. Whatever, those are actually attached. I see what I did. I put the hinge in. This is a component. So there, but the idea is that those hinges are welded to this sleeve, and it could be raised up. And since you have a hinge, the angle of your brace can change. So this would, as you raise this up, this could be folded down and still used. You would just have to have a longer brace. But the main idea behind that hinge bracket is so that it will fold down and neatly store away. And then you just have sections, however tall you want the tower, you just have these other sleeves, and there's a joint in the pipe, the fiberglass square tubing here, there's a joint, and then you'd have a hole in it that you would be able to use wing nuts. All this is real simple. The only hardware are these wing nuts. Okay, and you come up here to the top, and this cap, this is a steel sleeve with a cap on it, so it just slides right over the fiberglass tube, okay, and it's already got these might be a little big. It's already got the attachment points for the cables if you need those, and of course the wing nut there. And then haven't quite figured this out yet. I'll have to get with Alex on this. And there are brackets. This might have to end up being offset. So this might be offset, and maybe this is different. But the point is this would be a different. All these would be parts that could be disassembled, and the bracket. There's a bracket that would hold this antenna mount onto that sleeve up there. Again, I didn't want to go too far. I wanted to kind of get the concept down and get that kind of approved. And then what we would do is actually figure out exactly how it would be, all the parts. Now, so far, all these parts I have shown, I'm bookmarking. And so I've got, I've done research on the antenna mounts. This was the information provided to me by Alex. This and this. So the idea is just to keep a sort of a link database going. I thought about these. This was where I kind of was headed on these are lowbrow hinges. They call them. This is welded. This stud thing is welded to your part, and then that hinges, and those have slots in them that could be used for adjusting the braces. You see, you want some tolerance in this stuff. You don't want it to be like it all has to fit, exactly. And then here, this is a website I use as a contractor, erigging.com. I buy turnbuckles, all kinds of rigging here. They've got all kinds of stuff that can be used. These eyelets. This is where I got these ring fitting at the bottom. All of that. And what else have we got here? Oh, just stainless steel. I've got a couple of, I think I have a roll of 500 foot of cable I'll donate to the cause. Still, we use this, not the vinyl coated, but I was thinking vinyl coated might be nice for this. But we use this stainless steel cables for cable rails for projects. But these are real parts. And of course this would be welded to the base plate. And then you'd have your cable with your, that's a crimped on tie nut there. And then that just goes up here. And what you would do, the sequence would be, is that you would assemble this mast first, right? So you would have all of this stuff would be laying on the ground, and you would have your base, all this base assembled, and then you would have, I'll see if I can find a pivot point here. And this would be, you would be laying on the ground like this. And then you would have, and we do this a lot in construction, you'd have somebody holding their foot at the bottom and somebody else raising it, And then as you both held it up, you would attach you would just slide the wing nuts through those holes in the hinges and tighten it off, and voila, there you go. And then you would have already had the cables attached before you raise it up, so there's no need for ladders or anything. Excuse me. So then as that gets stood up, you attach your braces, and then you attach if you need to. I'm thinking if this is only going to be up an hour or two, you don't even need these cables. But if it's more of a semi-permanent situation, you got your turnbuckle, and then you can stop it off to the ground, and it's pretty secure. I'm thinking this thing will withstand 75 mile an hour winds probably. There's not a lot to catch the wind. That's the nice thing about towers like this. So you say, okay, so how would all this break down? Well, pretty nicely, actually. This is literally all the parts right here, laying here. And then we could build a case for it like this. And this is all the stuff in there. If I turn off the box, you can see it's all stacked in there neatly. There's a few little quirky things. Like these would have to sit up a little bit higher because of those eyelets. But it'll all fit. And what we would do is that would be part of the design parameters or criteria. How could you get this down to a certain size? It's right now I think it's 16 inches. Yeah, 16 inches by 5 feet. And these sections, the longest section I have for some reason is 4'9" on here. I'd have to I think I got it up to, with all the bulk adding up, I think I got it to close to 16 feet. But whatever the height requirement is, yeah, 16'7". And these parts are based on 20-foot, being able to purchase 20-foot, 2.5 or 2-inch fiberglass, FRP tubes. Now, a word about fabrication. You're going to wonder why there's 4. Okay, this can easily be fabricated this way. So everything is nice and flat and square and flush. Now, I started off trying to mimic this design, and I ran into some problems with for fabrication. So if you want to, I think if you want to keep it simple, you just go ahead and have that extra leg. And if the thing about it is, if you ran into a place where you had a boulder or something, you could always leave off that leg and just use the cable to strap it down, to tie it down, because you would already have the equipment needed. You'd have your stake and your cable. So it gives you some flexibility. There's lots of flexibility here in this design. With being able to change the angle of the brace, it's not fixed. If you wanted it to be a taller brace, you just use a taller first section here. As a matter of fact, if you were going to make the whole thing taller, you would just change this one section, and it would coordinate with, because the rest of these could stay the same. So anyway, let me know what you think, and we'd actually be happy to fabricate this for you. And we could probably, I might even be able to get some crowdfunding, on my YouTube channel to do it. This box could have, straps, handles, or holes in the ends of it to make it easy to carry around. And I would probably try to keep this box to less than 5 or 5.5 feet, so it'll fit in the back of a regular pickup truck or even a van. I mean, at 5 feet, you could let the seat down in an SUV and put it in there. So that was my goal, would be to, be able to get it into a nice compact package like this for shipping and just toting around to different jobs. These are dipoles. I'm not actually an antenna expert. I'm a construction guy. So I think these are the dipoles, the antenna, and I'm not quite sure how the cables get, but I do know we were using fiberglass mast here, this pole, this tube, to keep from transferring. I don't know how you keep from transferring, I guess you're worried about conductivity. I guess these cables can't be steel, they have to be something else. Then this is a question for Alex. But anyway, that's just the idea. And if anybody's wondering, this is the same configuration, or it would be, as this. This looks like a triangle, but it's the same thing. This is here, and then that is there. You see, all I'm doing is replacing it with a straight bar from here to there. Whatever this relationship here is would remain the same. And of course, again, I'm not an antenna expert, but I tried. That was part of what I was trying to do. And so, all right. Well, thanks for the opportunity. Galileo Project. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to thank Avi or who, but thanks to Alex and those who asked me to help them. And I'm willing and able to help. I may not be the smartest guy, but I know how to build stuff, and if you need this thing built, we can figure it out. Thanks for what I would encourage you all to get. Where's my camera? I would encourage you, You know, making videos is cool and all, but get involved. You know,